history that we're taught in the K through 12, kindergarten through high school here in the United States is bourgeoisie history, obviously, right? The ruling class in the United States is the bourgeoisie, is the capitalist class, is the billionaire elite. A lot of different words you could use to describe, but it's the ones with wealth and power. That is who runs this country, that is who owns the politicians, and that is the type of history that indoctrinates the children, you know, kindergarten through high school. So it's not super surprising that most people, if that's their only exposure to US history, think the United States is the shining example of the democracy on the hill and believe in things like the American dream and the founding fathers were great people, just, you know, fighting against taxation, and that they really lived up to the, you know, freedom and liberty and all of those, all of those things. So it really takes an active effort, and again, this obviously, this type of propaganda extends way beyond the classroom. So, you know, media and all the forms it takes. Cable news, that's going to give you a very bourgeoisie perspective of international and you know, national news and stories and analysis that's going to come from that perspective. And if a person's not willing to toe that corporate bourgeoisie line, they're not going to get hired into those positions. And if they stray from it, they're not going to stay in those positions. Like how Phil Donahue had a talk show host on one of the major networks, and I believe he was critical of the Iraq War, the illegal invasion and destruction of that country under the second Bush administration, right? George Bush Jr. They fired his ass after that. Same with Chris Hedges at the New York Times, I believe, for the same reason. And so that's corporate media, right? I think it's around 5 corporations control, it's like 90 or 95% of all news and media outlets in the United States, but that's a free press. Just different shades of capitalist propaganda and imperialism. You know, Fox will have a slightly different hue as opposed to CNN or ABC or MSNBC, right? So we're indoctrinated in school from a young age. We're indoctrinated by the media. We're indoctrinated by different cultural and religious institutions. And then the social supports, the natural supports, friends, family, you know, they can also reinforce that indoctrination if they haven't been exposed to new ideas or ways of looking at the world to see it for what it really is, and you know, remove the propaganda and really pull the curtain back to have a real look at what's going on. And that can take a lot of effort, you know, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's kind of like in the Matrix, once you give them the pill, once you take it, you know, you're in, there's no going back. Same Same thing with getting educated and informed about all of the bullshit people have been programmed to believe in the United States, that it's a, democracy and we're the land of the free, even though we incarcerate more people than anywhere in the world, and we're bombing, we're supplying and supporting and financing a genocide, but we believe in, human rights and equality and justice, and how there's actually no connection between, if a policy is very strongly supported by the voting public, by the people in the US, there's no correlation to politicians actually listening to their constituents, whether it be universal health care or ending the wars or anything that honestly would materially benefit the people. If it's not directed by the capitalist owning class, they're not going to advocate for that, because why would they? If they went against their corporate owners, they went against the money interest, that money would shift to their opponent next time, and well, they're looking after their own material interests and the nice fat salaries and benefits package they get for just being ready and willing to do the bidding of the military industrial complex, the war profiteers, the health insurance companies, pharmaceutical, Wall Street, the list goes on, right? And then, so it's quite the process. It's ever evolving process, and educating yourself and others is ongoing, and being able to have independent analysis and insight from different sources, and getting that information is important. Breakthrough news, Mint Press News, Black Agenda Report, Danny Haifong, Gabriel Rockhill's work is really good. Domenico Losordo, just finishing his book. Stalin, The Legend and Critique of a Black Legend, I believe is the title. Definitely want to get into his book, Class Struggle, next. That's one that Rockhill recommends. Ben Norton's work is really good. There's sources out there, obviously not of the mainstream. And then there's a lot of suppression from, anti-imperialist, socialist, or communist sources that often happens because the bourgeoisie doesn't want those messages and that type of analysis getting out to a larger population, because the more people that are aware of what's going on, the more likely it is that they will be able to potentially get organized and find ways to change and fight back against this propaganda and the consequences of it. So, bit of a rant, a bit rambly, but again, the history we're taught in schools is bourgeoisie history, because that is the dominant class, that is the ruling class, so that's the knowledge that is being reproduced in K through 12 in university as well, right? It's the ideas and thoughts and ideology of the bourgeoisie, not of the workers, because we don't have a dictatorship of the proletariat, which we obviously desperately need.